You know what the greatest part about art is? For the artist? Well, for this artist. I can't speak for us all, but we all paint from the same place, dance from the same place, sing from the same place. The greatest part about art is facing this thing, the blank canvas. It's the epoch, the apex, the zenith, the pinnacle, the crescendo. You start out at the top. You start out at the best. You start out at the biggest, the largest, the greatest, the vastest. And so does creation, the deepest, the emptiest, the most infinite, and the most joyful. Yeah, there's only one creative process, and we're all employing it. There's only one mind, and we're all sharing it. There's only one being, and we are it. You've heard it all before, but what does it mean? What is it pointing to, or what is it pointing back to? What is the blank canvas of the blank canvas of the blank canvas, which has no blank canvas? Is there one? We're going to find out. Do it. RAS.Wheaht. I'm very, very glad you're here today. Thank you. I love you by default. And it's been said a billion times that love is the blank canvas of the blank canvas of the blank canvas that we're looking for. They say God is love. But if you say the word God in a room of 100 people, there's 100 different gods in the room. And everyone thinks theirs is correct. Yet not a single one of them exists here. If you went through tape 2 with us, you know what that means. And that very simple thing becomes very significant and if you consider how many wars have been fought, even right now, happening right now, over the thought, my God is better than yours, my thought is better than yours. It's little tiny things like this that could unstupid this entire show. We can start correcting a lot of nonsense from very simple things like noticing that we fall asleep, which we very slowly and deliberately went over in the last tape. If you haven't watched it, go back, because we're about to do it again. I'm tired. I'm going to lay down for a little bit, close my eyes. Oh, Harriet Tubman, I love her. Let's dream about Harriet Tubman. Eventually this dream will end, and here we are again. Deep sleep, a gap of non-existence. It actually would have already been over and we would have woken up. Because it doesn't really happen, but it does happen. You can't investigate it. You can't imagine it. You can't know it, but you know it's there. As stated, your ability to be able to contemplate that which doesn't exist is a very high form of contemplation and meditation. Your ability to recall this at any second, or every second if it's needed, it'll help immensely. Because I don't know if you can get any simpler than non-existence, but your mind at some point is going to tell you that it is complex, it's too hard, I don't understand, it's too much homework. Well, just hit pause and remember your own intimate experience of this state. Known but unknown, you cannot deny it. Remind yourself that all we're doing is falling asleep and waking up. You can't watch yourself fall into non-existence because there's no watcher. But you can watch yourself come out of non-existence, which we're going to do now. For historical purposes, it has taken me 14 years to figure out how to say that. This is what I bet everything on. When I say I'm glad you're here, I'm really glad you're here, because I'm betting everything on you too. I know we haven't defined it yet, but that little visual sequence that we're going to be using in place of words is more accurate than the words. It happens just like that. And the words we're replacing are the highest words and greatest thought forms that a human can hear. If you've made it this far, you are the light of the world. If you subscribe to a spiritual or religious tradition built on the teachings of a person, they have said something like that. You are the light of the world. We're going to figure out what that means right here. Can we do it again? I don't even know what to say. The entirety of spirituality, which is the highest science, the highest intelligence, and the highest art form, is geared to getting you to witness that. That's it. Can you handle it? Why are we even talking about this? Why are we falling asleep and waking up? Because all of human suffering is built off of a single thought form. One line of code in the CPU of this body computer. It's I am this body, which causes the feeling of separation. Now, the fact that we spend 1/3 of every single day in states we don't have this body should be enough. It should be enough evidence that we aren't this body, or are something a little bit more at least. But for thousands and thousands of years, though presented, it has been overlooked, misunderstood, or outright rejected for whatever reasons. That's why we're talking about it, and that's why we have to start with it. If it wasn't apparent until now, we've been sneaking it in. We are having the original conversation of man, or for man. If you're involved in any of the spiritual traditions or religions or organizations based around a text, there most likely is a writing about this. Existence turning on. Non-existence becoming existence. Nothingness becoming oneness. Darkness becoming light. There is more information in this thing than any other thing in all of creation. It is before creation. It is the mind turned off. Creation is in the mind, and we have confirmed that this is the mind being turned off. Your very mind, as it is right now, doesn't know that these two states we're talking about even exist. The universe, though, has left us with direct evidence that they do exist. It's incredible. In that little part that the mind doesn't have access to lies the story of existence. Though it's usually taught wrong, that it happened one time a long time ago. We all know now that that is incorrect. It's always available. There's probably 2 billion people on the planet right now in this state of deep sleep, of non-existence. But there's not 2 billion versions of non-existence. There's only one. Can you even have 2 versions of something that doesn't exist? That's why you got to check your own experience. Our experience of non-existence is correct. But since the mind doesn't have access to this, it's never going to be what you think. Ever. If you have any qualms or balks or opinions, you don't have them in deep sleep. They're moot. Your thoughts about it don't mean shit. But until we experience it directly, we got to talk about it. Talk means thoughts. The best thoughts are wisdom. Wisdom is a device of subtraction, not addition. We're subtracting. And the wisest way to talk for me is to keep resetting and subtracting. This is how I'm healing myself. Slow, steady, scientific. So let's reset. What you're about to witness is typically referred to as the threefold nature of the Supreme, or similar words. Often called the Trinity. How is that so? I know, right? This is about to get really fun for those who don't flinch when the mind tells you to bolt. Too simple, dumb, stupid. There's no value in it. I already know this.
This is the professional bowling of conversations.
All that we have done is fallen asleep and woken up. Let's put it on the table one more time before we dig in. We have deep sleep, non-existence, nothingness, etc. Your experience of it is correct. You are not afraid of it. It is the mind that is afraid of it. The mind is not available here. There are not two versions of non-existence. There are no versions of it. There is one version of this. Existence. There is no mind available for this either. The revealing or experience of this may occur to one at any moment, any time, anywhere. We're just using the one that occurs in the morning because we know it happens. Like the ocean lapping the shore over and over. It occurs every single morning for another opportunity to see it, to be it. Don't be in a hurry. Let's slow down. Let's reset again. Is that ever not funny? Don't forget to have fun. This is a stuffy conversation for some people. It can't be the greatest conversation if it's stuffy. All right, let's reset again. Getting the mind slow enough before you fall asleep is the means with which to witness this happen when you come out of deep sleep. And if you're a seeker, you know that the entirety of it is to get the mind quiet, still, empty, silent, sometimes referred to as dead mind, but most often no mind, which generally comes out of the Buddhist traditions. I grew up as a child in Catholicism, where Jesus taught, be still. The problem sometimes is that a lot of these little bubbles in the spiritual realm will turn very, very simple teachings into very complex mechanisms. So we're going to look at it mathematically. Let's go find the math that all other math comes from, the math of existence. The math of existence occurs right here. Mark it, make a note of it, put it on the table. Let's start a chart. One thing has occurred. Existence. The key is all the things that are immediately known in this one tiny moment. One is that existence is one thing. Two, that one thing is you. There is nothing else to be. You don't know it. Knowing is for the mind. The mind is not available here. Knowing without mind is called being. You are it. I am it. It is I. Any way you want to spin it, there is no spin when it happens. You just are. Let's restart again. There is a witnessing of this switch. So known immediately, even though one thing happens, you watch the switch from one thing to another. We now have two things, but only one thing has happened. Existence. And you are the only thing that still exists. Also immediately known when this switch happens is that the awareness or witnessing of the switch is witnessed by something that doesn't switch. And that something, of course, is you. But now we have three things instead of two. Non-existence that is not, existence that is, and the witnessing of both. The witnessing of this switch is stable. It does not move. The switch from one to another is a movement, back, forth. If we just toggle back and forth here, you are witnessing this toggling. Your witnessing is not changing. It is stable. All of this recognition occurs in the same exact moment. all three are you. You are the only thing that still exists. Only one thing has actually happened. Whew. Should we take a break? This is a very difficult conversation for the ears, yet it is so simple. Three things are known, while only one thing occurs, and that one thing is you. This is what happens out of non-existence. There's a lot of stories written about it. The threefold nature of the divine, God, the supreme, source, all the names. Nothing comes before it. The Trinity. It is not just three, it is 1, 2, and 3. And yes, you are the divine. This recognition is usually called self-realization, self-revelation, enlightenment, liberation, moksha, mukti, so many names. For you, the divine revealing its divinity to itself, as itself. There is nothing else available to be. You are what occurs out of non-existence. And I know what you're thinking, but it will never, ever be what you think. You don't get a vote. The only relevant thoughts occur here. It must be experienced directly. There is so much knowing from this 1 second of being that we won't ever be able to cover it. If any of this is registering to you, it's not registering in the mind. It's not available to it. It has no access to it. It's registering somewhere else. The mind does not even know that you exist. The mind does not even know that you exist. The mind does not even know that you exist. You exist before the mind. I think that's good for now. We can end and pick up next time. We have the basic math of existence on the table. Now we get to play with it. This gets more fun as we go along. Last tape we fell asleep. This tape we woke up. So simple. But one of my main criteria was that this thing be something we can do together. And it's, can't wait to get to it. Come back next time. We'll dig into the math of existence in this original conversation for man. The first one that we should have with each other. It's a fun one and a scary one because we're going to taste directly what we're talking about here. That's the most important thing. And it all pays back to this. We're not finding out what that is yet. We're finding out what we are. We'll get to that next time. Thank you for being here so much. I love you. This isn't the art, you are. Come back. Love on.